Hello. I happened to have a piece of scrap that was about the right size, so I decided to thread it, bore a hole, tap it, and make myself a jam chuck, I guess you want to call it. I just made sure that the piece was square so that I could get a good grip on it on my chuck. It's got to be big enough for the hole for the thread, so that one happens to be about 1 15/16, so that's plenty big enough. Length, it's got to be deep enough. On my lathe, and probably different for different lathes, from the shoulder to the nose of the spindle is about 1 3/16. I'm going to be using the Beall tap. Mine is 1¼ by 8 thread. The Beall tap is a tap that is designed to start easily. What that means is that there's quite a taper on the front end of it before you actually start cutting threads, so you can easily get that into the hole and it will start cutting the threads. But you're not actually cutting threads to full depth until you're up to these last maybe 4 threads on this tap. So basically, if you need a hole that is threaded right to the end, you got to make the hole almost 5/8 of an inch deeper than what clearance you actually need, so that you'll be threading right to the, you'll have threads cut to the full depth that you need. So that's 1 3/16 plus the 1/2 inch there, or 5/8 inch. Well, I have found that 1 3/4 works well for mine. So I'll be boring a hole 1 3/4 inches deep and then tapping it as deep as I can go with that. When that hits the bottom of the hole, I'll be done. Now, another thing I really like about this tap is the case it comes in has got all the instructions printed right on the case. So if you find the case and the tap is in the case, you've got the instructions right there. You don't have to go hunting around trying to find a manual that's got the instructions in it, because you can't remember 6 months ago or a year ago, the last time you used it, what you had to do. So, according to the instructions, I got to bore a hole that's 1/8 of an inch under the lathe spindle diameter. So, since this is 1¼ inch spindle, then I need a 1 1/8 inch hole. So I'm going to put that in my chuck. And I'm going to mount a Jacob's chuck in the tailstock. Okay, and this Forstner bit is 1 1/8 inches. I bought it specifically for doing this job, and it's about the only job that I need a 1 1/8 inch hole for. So I know that black mark on there is the depth I need to bore, because that's was put there the last time I used it, and it's still there. So I'm going to bore until I get to the black line there, and I'm going to slow the lathe down to about 800 RPM or so, I think, for boring. Alright, that's unlocked, everything's ready to go. Alright. That's all well and good, except my tailstock was moving backwards as the bit was going in, so yeah, make sure it's taken down. Yeah, that's ready. Alright. One thing you have to watch for when you're using your tailstock, especially for fairly large holes, I was boring some about 2 1/4 inches, and the Jacob's chuck started spinning in the Morse taper on me. That doesn't do your Morse taper any good at all. So that's one reason I was holding on here. Not that that small a hole should be a problem, but you never know, and it's better to be safe than sorry. And what did I do with my chuck key? Oh, I did put it away. How about that? I've got 2 Jacob's chucks, and of course they don't use the same key, so I looked up there and I thought that was the other one up there, but they were both there. So I'll put that back in here, so maybe I'll be able to find it the next time I go to do this. And I'm done with the Jacob's chuck, so I can take it out. And I'll get rid of the dust. And I'll get my tap. Now I'm going to start the hole. I guess I should put my tailstock center in. Now I've got the 60-degree cone mounted on my tail center. And this tap has a dimple in the bottom, which mates quite nicely with that 60-degree cone. So that keeps this end of the tap in line. So I just now I lock the headstock spindle, so that the block of wood can't turn. And I'm just as I rotate this and it goes in, I'm going to be turning the hand wheel with my other hand to keep the tail center set in that dimple.